everyone, welcome to my first video of 2024. It's a bit of a gloomy day today. It's quite cold out. I feel like being pretty cozy and I thought I would work on a sewing project and show you what I'm up to. I'm just trying to kind of ease my way into the new year and not be too hardcore about anything. I need to give my arm a rest from embroidering and beading, so sewing it is, and I have a couple shirts that I thrifted a while back for myself one of them I thrifted for myself and one of them I thrifted to embroider, but I decided I'd like to upcycle them both with a little bit of fabric manipulation, in the sense of like cutting up strips of fabric and sewing them onto these shirts. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm just gonna get right into it. The first shirt I have is this long sleeve red shirt, and it has a bit of a flare in the fit of it. I got this from a thrift store. I thought I would embroider it, but instead I'm going to add strips of fabric. As far as the t-shirt, I'm gonna cut up for the strips of fabric that are gonna go all over this. I have a gray shirt. My mom gave me this a while back and I've actually been wearing it through the years, but I just kind of decided that it drives me crazy because it's so stretched out that even though it's a somewhat good layering piece, I'd prefer to use it as embellishing material. So I am going to cut this up into strips and then arrange them on this and sew it all down on the sewing machine. That's the first idea that I have. And then the other shirt I have is this red turtleneck that I bought for myself and I haven't worn ever since I thrifted it. I think I'm coming to realize that I'm just not a turtleneck person, and it feels very Christmassy to wear a red turtleneck. I thought I would also do something with this, but I don't necessarily have a game plan yet, so I'm gonna set this off to the side. If I have time to get to it, I will, but I might just kind of have to wait for inspiration to strike with this one. I'm gonna get started on the first shirt and take you through what I'm up to. All right, so this is the fit. In general, it fits me all right. I don't love that the sleeves are short on me, and I don't love that this is flared out, but it's not the worst. I think I might want to add length to the sleeve, and a method that I do for my sewing on fabric strips is I usually cut underneath the sleeve into the side seam so that I just have one big open piece. When I open it up, I'll probably add a chunk of length also to the sleeve, just so that they're not this style of shorter sleeve. So this looks pretty good so far, and I'm gonna leave it with the flare, I think. Yeah, why not? Now I'll show you my idea. I'm gonna draw the basic shape of the shirt. It has a little flare, and we've got sleeves. I'll make a note that I want to extend the sleeve, which I have to find red fabric for. I'm sure I have some more old AC Moore shirts that I can cut a piece of. Ignore this smudge. The strips of fabric I'm gonna cut are gonna be like 1/2 inch wide, I guess, and as long as I can get them. And then I'm gonna sew them like so onto the shirt in a cool pattern. I like to kind of make a bust with them, and then I also like the idea of them coming up into a curve into the arm, sort of like that. And I'm gonna try to make them symmetrical, but I'm not gonna do too much measuring, so whatever happens happens. I tend to just freehand draw onto my shirt. So this is like a fun experimental day of sewing. So imagine these all as strips of fabric. Maybe we'll do some straight strips up here, maybe continue that all the way down, flare it out like so, something like that. I'm not sure if I'll have enough gray fabric, so I might compensate with, I have this scrap of black t-shirt too. Oh my god, it looks really fuzzy. Ignore that, I'm gonna lint roll it, but I have lots of t-shirt scraps that I might pull to complete this and give it more of a contrasting look. So this is what the shirt looks like cut open. This is the front, the back, the two sleeves, and the, what is that called? The opening for your head, the neckline. Now I'm just gonna draw my design. That's the next step. I'm gonna use one of these Micron pens. And then I'll get to cutting out fabric strips that I'm going to embellish on top of this. I guess I also want to find another red t-shirt because I know I've got one somewhere that I can cut and add length to the sleeves. I think first I'm going to start drawing. I went through my storage bins and I found some more gray t-shirts to cut up. This is one of my old shirts. It's a Richard Hell shirt. I don't like to wear it because it has guns on it and I don't want to promote guns. So I can cut this up for more gray strips. This looks like a lot, but I always end up needing more than what I initially cut. So I want to be prepared. So I'll cut up this one as well. And then I also found this gray t-shirt. So I'm also going to cut this up to add to these strips. And I like that these are subtly all different shades of gray. It's going to be interesting. And then I also found a pile of AC Moore shirts that my mom, saved from the dumpster when AC Moore was shutting down. I've cut into these before for my applique projects, but I am going to figure out how to use some of this to elongate the sleeves of my red shirt that I'm embellishing, because I want to do that first before I get sewing. I think I'm going to find one that the hem's not cut so that I don't have to sew a hem, or maybe I'll work off the sleeves and cut a portion of the sleeve off to elongate those short sleeves. This is my cut up t-shirt strip pile. I decided I'm probably going to stick with these shades of gray and save the black for a different project, so long as I have enough of these. And now I'm gonna start sewing the strips onto this base shirt. I'm gonna kind of start by sewing the strips on the basic drawing that I drew, and then from there I'm gonna use that as a guideline and keep sewing the strips next to it, but I'll show you on the machine. I'm starting the first strip at the neckline and just following this pen drawing that I made. I cut the strip short, kind of to the length that it's supposed to be. All right, this is the first one, and now I'm going to add lines all the way across until I get to this last drawn line. When I sew this next one, I like to fold this back a little bit so that they're kind of overlaps, and when these wash, they will kind of separate and reveal some of the red beneath the gray strips, which I enjoy. That's the first section that I did. It's not perfect, but because it's like an upcycling project, I don't mind that it's very messy, deconstructed style. So I'm gonna keep going and following the lines that I drew and see how far I get into the afternoon with just sewing. All right, this is how far I've come. I've pretty much been sewing all day. I want to take a break now. It's about 3:15. I'll put it on so you can get an idea of what's happening. Here's the general shape. The arms, obviously, this is all going to be connected eventually, but you can kind of see how the strips are forming a shape. I'm leaving this blank for now. That's the last portion that I'm going to stitch strips on top of. I think once that happens, you'll really get an idea of the shirt. So I'm going to take a break for the rest of the day and then probably finish this tomorrow. Alright, it's the next day. I'd like to finish this up. I only have a little bit left on the front to do, but quite a bit of the back. It's only 10 in the morning, so I think I can get this done if I really focus and just sew. I'm probably not going to get around to embellishing or sewing strips onto the turtleneck that I thought I would do. Sometimes it's too overwhelming for me to have multiple projects in one video. I really prefer to do like one day makes, at least right now as I'm getting used to filming myself working. So the goal is just to finish this and keep sewing. As it fills up, it does get a little bit more complicated to keep sewing the strips in, or at least like a tight fit on the machine, but it's rewarding to see it come together and see the textures, and it's kind of just an experiment right now. I don't consider myself a gray person, like I don't like to wear gray too much, and I am concerned that once the red is completely filled up with gray, I might not like it as much, but we'll see. I think it'll come out cool, so if anything, I might just put it in my shop for someone who does enjoy wearing gray. Yeah, that's where I'm at, and I'm gonna get to sewing. It's 2 o'clock right now. I used up all of the gray strips of fabric. That's how far I've got with this shirt. So I think I am gonna, after all, use some black to fill in the gaps, and hopefully it ends up looking cool. It's just these triangle shapes that are on the front, and then the undersleeve on the back. The rest is all finished, so I just have a bit more sewing to do. And then I can stitch the side seam and underseam of the sleeve all together and see how this turned out. Yeah. So I did run out of black. I did manage to get these 2 front triangles. You know, maybe I'm just gonna leave it like that and then stitch this all together and see how it comes out. I think. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn this inside out. I'm gonna stitch a straight line all the way down the side seam of the shirt on both sides. Here's how this came out. It's not exactly what I planned, having this patch of red exposed, but I don't hate it. I kind of like how the strips of fabric tuck into the red, and I do have the neckline exposed too, so you get little hints of the red all connecting. It's a bit of a weird kind of DIY, but I don't know, I think it's cool and artsy. I don't mind the gray either. That's the project. Usually I do this in a bit more bright colors or pick just one color of fabric to embellish and fabric manipulate on top of the other, but I was working with what I had. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm excited to make more videos this year. Let me know what kind of stuff you want to see, and that's about it. So until next time, take care. Bye.